honey, just cut me clear off.
We're not having that. You know why? Because it was getting good.
Getting good.
It was getting good.
So
That's
let me
all
go
right.
back into that. The question I was asking is basically saying we're in the middle of the pandemic. So I wanted to find out what your thought is to someone saying, like, literally, what do I do now? You know, I'm out of a job, or I'm waiting on my job to restart, or what is happening? Is it possible that I can actually go into business like Val, or go into business? I am for one preaching to myself, because I'm literally in the middle of this myself and starting not one but two businesses in the middle of a pandemic. So I want to say, you go first and tell women out there, like, literally how you've done it with the event planning business, but how do you do it in the middle of a pandemic? How do you start a business right now?
Well, I think that is an excellent question. First of all, I'm going to say that we are still prospering in a pandemic. So stick a pin in that, hold that, write that down, put it on the fridge, put it in like over the bed head, and say that to yourself. But the most important thing is, so you can start a business. This time is the best time to start a business. Anytime is a good time to start a business. It really starts with, I don't know if you can see this over the top of my head, but this is what I have written. It's growth mindset daily. Like 90% of the success to a business, starting a business, really starts with you. Your mind. It really starts with your mind. Life and death is in the tongue. So what you speak over your life is what actually is going to manifest. And you have to believe that. Even when you have the naysayers, and we're going to have the naysayers, even when we weren't going through this global situation, right? So it's really up to the individual. If this is something that you believe in your heart, you can start it if there's 10 feet of snow, if the sun is shining and it's 115 degrees, if you're in a pandemic. And yes, you can, and you will be prosperous. Absolutely. It can be done. Once again, I like to say, put your blueprint together. And what that blueprint is putting down a business plan. Once you know what it is that you want to do, put it down. These days and time in 2020, I know a lot of people are saying that, oh my gosh, I want to throw 2020 back in. No. 2020 has afforded us the opportunity to stop, reset, go deep. It even moves some people out of the way. My ears are so in tune now where I can pick up if there is like BS that's coming, because I'm staying in my word. I am grounded. I am meditating. I am staying focused on his business first, which ultimately is my business, which is to serve people, which the wealth is already there. All I have to do is just walk into it. So this time is much better time to start your business than any time.
I think that's incredible, because I saw the post that you had posted earlier today, and you said risk is the down payment on success.
Okay.
So speak on that. That's it. That's a big one.
You got to be able to step out there. You know, and I try to, the majority of my posts are more, people get something out of it, but it's really me speaking those things out into the atmosphere, because I have to encourage myself too. But you know something? I can't stop, because I got too many people depending on me, meaning the people that I am helping, empowering. And most of all, I have my future self. I met her a couple of years ago, and I made her a promise that I wouldn't fail her. She was waiting for me to step into my own. When I talk about my lemonade stand, I talk about being in business, she was already there before I even realized who she was. And I was introduced to her. And I owe it to her, which is my future self, to continue to carry on and walking out this assignment. There is, I was reading this, I think it was Benjamin Mays. And we've all been put on the face of this earth to do something unique. If I don't do it, if you don't do it, and the people out there don't do what they've been put, it won't get done. It won't get done. So we've all been put on this earth to do something unique. And if I don't do what I've been put on this earth to do, it won't get done. And yes, there are 50 billion event planning company out there, but they're not doing it like
you. Amen. Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so funny because I have a quick story to share similar to yours, because when I want to say 7 years old, I'll circle back. My mom, you know, after my mom and dad divorced, my mom was independently raising me by herself, working every day. But I used to see her go out and work every day. And I'm just like, she's getting up early, she's dropping me off. And there was one point in time we didn't even have a car. So not only was she getting up earlier, we're getting on the bus, she would get off the bus to take me to school and then go back to the bus stop to go to work. You know, so I mean, just a lot going on for a single woman with no car.
Right.
And there was one point I remember being home on a weekend and I got the newspaper and I said, I'm going to get a job. And I think I was like 7 or 8 years old, but I literally went through the paper because I was like, I got to help her out, you know? And I went through the paper and I called a woman. She was looking for a gardener. And I literally disguised my voice to sound older. You know, I was just like, well, hello, you know, I know that you need someone like me. You know, wanted to sound like I was an older woman. And she said, come on, you know, she gave me the address. So I went and handed it to my mom. And my mom is just going along with this. We get to the house and I'm still in that same mindset, but I'm still in that voice, right? So I'm like, hello, I'm here for the job. And the lady says, you know, she looks at me, looks at my mom, and she's like, I really was looking for a gardener, like someone to come, like, and she had this huge yard. This wasn't like a little bitty backyard, but she said basically, you know, I'm inspired for the simple fact that she actually got on the phone and I told her it was okay to come, and she came for the job and she's here. And then you brought her, but I heard her whisper to my mom, like, I'm going to let her stay for like, you know, 30 minutes to an hour, and pay her. But I really need a real gardener. But it just like it triggered what you just said. Like I met my future self. I met that person when I was 7 years old. You know, I met myself for who I was going to be, because I feel, yes, I'm a go-getter. I'm going to go get the job. I'm going to create the job. I'm going to make it happen. And 7 years old, I got paid $50 for an hour.
That's a lot of money. That's right.
You know, for a 7-year-old. So I get what you're saying with the mindset, because we have to, like, especially right now, the news thing is a big thing. Like, I think if we watch too much of what's going on, not to say don't watch it, but I think watching it too much is a little depressing.
Right.
So we have to like maybe shift into, you know, going outside, reading Bible, reading a book, just, you know, turn the TV off though, because there's so much going on, and they're talking a lot about death and you know, COVID and the race wars and people being killed, and it's a lot right now.
It is.
So I'm just, you know, I want to ask you, what are your suggestions do you have, like, for somebody that, again, that does not fully believe, you know, or understand who God is? Because I mean, this conversation is very spiritual, but to where they're just trying to find themselves right now in the middle of a quarantine, you know, them being at home.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent question. I believe that we all want something or someone to believe in, right? And for you and I, because as believer, we chose to, you know, whether it was someone that introduced us to, you know, our father at an early age, or something that we heard or we read, or we had some sort of like life-altering event that drew us to, you know, to the belief that we believe in. So I would say, and because these days in time, people want something. People want something. I find that even in my coaching, that people want something and someone to believe in, that there is hope. So what I would say for those people that, you know, and for me, I don't try to shove down your throat my belief. I believe my actions and how my walk and how I treat you will then reveal itself to who I am and who I believe in. But I would first start with those people that don't have anything or anyone to believe in. Is for me, is why don't you just pick up the Bible? I say pick up the Bible. I wouldn't even say to go to church. I wouldn't even say, well, these days in time you really can't. I wouldn't even say to listen to anything online, because even there's a biblical scripture that says you got to read the word for yourself. Read it for yourself. So what I would say is pick up the Bible and start at the beginning of Genesis. In the beginning. In the beginning. How we all even got to this point. Start there. And then for baby steps, because you don't want to take, it's like my granny would say, you know, bite off the meat and spit out the bones. You don't want to take too much in, because I can tell you one thing. The reason why I wouldn't advise going to church or, you know, listening to any sermon online, because church folks, they're some peculiar people. They're human. Church is a hospital. You go there to get well, you know, and we all. So I would say just pick up the Bible and just read the word for yourself and see what resonates for you. Because I have to admit, every time I go into a scripture, there's something else that comes out of it for me.
Just for you.
I was just reading something I said in one of my live. I said, you know, just giving some encouraging words like, iron sharpens iron, meaning surround yourself with people that are coach or people that they're going to stretch you, to motivate you, to encourage you, because iron sharpens iron, you know. But I applied that to the situation that was happening at that time. When I read it, maybe before, it was a different meaning for me. So I would encourage someone that, you know, to start with the Bible, because that's what I know. I can't tell you to go and read something else or the Quran or, you know, I can tell you what
you only know,
gives me peace, that gives me understanding, that gives me, even in business practices. I'll give you another example, and I'll throw it over to you. Is I was working with this the group of young ladies, and they're all faith-based, and I threw out, you know, in a business. And for those faith-based people that are out there that are listening, that will listen to this maybe again, we were talking about Mary. And she was an event planner. When there was she got this job to go and prepare an event for the king, because one of the king's children was getting married. But she didn't budget right. She underestimated how many people would attend. And she didn't reach out to certain business partners, and she ran out of wine, the good stuff. Now, you know, anytime you're going to have a party,
talk about it, honey.
People they want the libation.
They want the wine.
So the wine ran out. The good stuff ran out. At least that's what she thought. So she went to one of the staff members, which happened to be Jesus, and said, listen, we done ran out some stuff. I need you to get on the phone and start calling some vendors, some business partners, some purveyors. Go to the liquor store, go to the bodega. We need to, because this party is pumping. This is getting ready to be the after party. And that's when it really starts to pump it out. So Jesus said to her, listen, just get me the buckets, the bowls, get me all the stuff that's empty, and fill it up with water. She told the other staff members, listen, whatever the head staff God tell you to do it. Okay? But my point is that she had to now spend extra money, the money that she was going to make, her commission, or the money that she was going to make off this big wedding, to go out and now have to buy extras. If she would have anticipated. And that's all a part of budgeting and getting an understanding from your client exactly what is needed. How many people come and showing up? You got 1,000 people, you got 100 people. Then this way I know exactly who I need to work with, how much food I need to prepare, how we, you know. So she didn't do that. But my point is that in the Bible, there are lessons, life lessons that you can apply to your everyday life. So the question to your answer, the answer to your question is start with the Bible and start with Genesis.
That's funny you say that, because again, that was me. Like literally, I want to say 20 years ago. You know, probably maybe about 23 years ago, and I just literally. It wasn't that I didn't have a faith. I didn't know, you know, and I really did that. I asked, you know, because there's a scripture that says, test me, you know, test me. Like, you know, and I was just like, you know, and I was forced to test him, like literally driving. I was going through a situation with an ex-boyfriend, you know, trying to move into my own place, had no money, and then had a car and driving in the middle of a storm, and my electric windows dropped down and would not roll back up. So, yeah, I was driving like 30 miles, and I'll never forget this. I was in my Honda Accord, and I was driving uphill, and my windows, and I mean, I swear this happened, they just rolled, they would not go back up in the middle of the rain. And I'm just like, of all things on the freeway, my windows will not roll. I was panicking. And so I was just like, and then again, going through something with an ex, you know, that it was just, you know, toxic relationship. So it was just like, okay, well, this is the time. And I believe I had just read a book. I can't remember the author, but the book was titled How to Find God. Right. And the excerpts in the middle of the book, it was Bible scriptures. And so it was the beginning of Genesis and on forth. And I remember one of the authors saying, if you're not sure, then ask him, like test him and see if he's real. I was like, okay, well, this is a perfect time. You know, I'm in the middle of this storm.
Exactly.
I need a place to live out of this relationship. And I'll never forget, it was like, not only did God showed me his face, I ended up driving, instead of home, I ended up at a car dealership and lost, didn't have any money. And the person who I was trying to run from, get away from, God used him to help me to get the vehicle. Okay, so it was like not his credit, but like literally somehow I remember like him putting the down payment or something without, and he didn't give me a trouble with it. I was like, I will pay you back.
Only do it.
Help me to get, but it was just like God taking what the devil had planned for evil and using it for good, and then also using it as a way to show me this girl
who he is.
Who he is. And ever since then, I've just, you know, I go through challenges, but at the same time, I'm a firm believer. Like you said, I get up in the morning, and most recently I've been tested. I have a cousin who is definitely like big on, you know, prayer and faith. And she told me recently to challenge yourself to get up even earlier, like get up before the devil. Okay.
That's right.
She's like, yeah, you get up.
I like
you're
that.
At home. She said, even if you're at home and you're going to quarantine or whatever's going on and you got to stay home, still get up early.
I like that.
Don't get up at 8, don't get up at 9, get up at 5. I said,
that's
5
o'clock
in the morning. She's like, get up at 5.
Right.
And I know
because now you're making a sacrifice. You're making a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And he will reward you on your sacrifice that you're making. 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock in the morning, Val. So I didn't do it today. I didn't get up at 5 today. But
I love it.
Challenging myself literally to get up super early and pray like when nobody is up. You know, at least I'm in my side of the world. You know what I'm saying? The same whether you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, 5 o'clock is super early. And it's quiet. You know what I'm saying? So whether you have kids or whatever you got going on, they're not up yet.
Exactly. So you can have your quiet moment, right?
And do that right now. So that's something that I'm challenging myself to be up a little bit more early and do things like that. But I want to circle back to something you touched on, just as, you know, I'll talk about us women, Black women and owning businesses, because one of the things that sometimes what we deal with, a major deficit, I should say, in a Black woman trying to own a business could be lack of capital access, you know, money, and the absence of trying to hire an experienced professional to help you out, you know. How speak on that?
Sure. Yeah. You know, well, when I started out, like, I would say today, well, not, you know, in 2020, but today resources are a lot more available opposed to when I started out. Okay. So there was a lot of things that I had to research and be persistent, almost to the point like how when this went off, we didn't stop. We were just like, we're going to get back on, we're going to get back on, because you have to continue knocking on doors. I think I got my first business loan. It was at least about 2.5 years after being in business. But I want to say that the thing is that you can't stop, because there's going to be somebody that's going to give you what it is that you need. There's somebody out there, just like how we're here today. There's somebody out there that needs this word that we're speaking. So there's somebody that's going to be out there. Persistent is key. So for the first 2.5 years, I had to come up with all the money. I had to make sure that I budget. So any money that I received for an event that I put on, I had to make sure that I put that back into the business, but also pay myself. And the other big thing is that I needed to continue investing in myself, to learn to hone more on my craft. you know? So persistent was key. And I just had to keep knocking on those doors. I didn't let one no stop me from continuing on, because there's going to be somebody out there that's going to be able to have that resource that you need. But I do agree with you. I mean, these days in time now, the small business loans are more relatively, it's more available now opposed to how it was. But you just have to be consistent. You have to, like, you know, make sure that you put down which bank you went to, what you put down on this. And sometimes you have to just be very creative on what you put down on those applications also, you know, as a brown woman that's going in. And at first, when I started out, I was the assistant, I was the creative director, I was the budget, the accountant, I was the CPA. I did it all. But the persistence and also just keeping the faith, because I know the promise that was given to me. I know the promise that was given to me, just like I know the promise that is still on my life. I just have to just walk that and stay steady on. It's going to come. It really is.
It's already yours. It's already mine.
Exactly.
Right? And and what do you think about grants? Like, I've been looking into that. I mean, well, do you know, speak on more about the grant process?
Well, I mean, a brand is just what the individual, corporation, or the organization wants to be perceived as. And it's funny that you say this. So I knew with CHBH, Creative Hands by Him, what I wanted to, I love purple. Purple is my color. I got everything purple. I got a purple bathroom. Purple is my color. I looked up what it is that I want people to know me for. Purple is royalty. If you look up the color, purple is royalty. So if you go onto the website for CHBH, it's purple. But I also, for my coaching business, it's empowering women. So when you see, before you see me as I'm entering in, I am the brand first. I am the brand. So what I did with for my coaching business, I actually did this which was really good. I put out on Facebook, because I have a decent amount of following on Facebook, my personal Facebook. And I'm like, give me one word that when you hear my name, what do you think about? People are like, oh my God, you're so motivating. You're encouraging. You're inspiring. So I took some of those and then I put that together. But I also said, what am I doing? What is my purpose? Hence, the brand equals the mission statement. So I am about empowering women. Okay. And those that are, because at one point, and that's a different show, I was broken. I don't want another woman to have to go through what I went through.
Come on now.
Not knowing that she has some sort of help or resource there. So hence came up with empowering. If you want to walk that journey, I'm here for you.
Like why go through it alone?
Right. But you have to have three things. You got to be committed. You got to be resourceful, and you have to be decisive. Those three things. Anything else, I can't work with. But if you got those three things, I can definitely walk that journey with you.
Absolutely.
But going back to the brand is what you want someone to perceive you as being. And I'm a powerful woman, so I want to empower women to have to feel that same way.
Well, it's all positive though, right? Because one of the things that, you know, we touched on, I think we talked about this last night, are naysayers, you know. So it's like, yes, it goes back to having faith and believing in oneself, but of course you always have somebody in your ear, you know, that's telling you, I mean, don't you think, can't you be doing something else? Like, you really think that's gonna work? You know, how do you deal with, and especially when it's somebody that's close to you? Because I usually get some of those are people that are the closest to you.
Absolutely. Those are always the one. It goes back to just knowing your purpose. Once you know your purpose, you know what you know is down to the white meat. No one could turn you from that. I know what my purpose is.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
yeah, you may say, you know what, I don't think that's going to work. You're out of your mind. What do you mean that you're doing this?
Yeah.
I know what my purpose is.
Yeah.
So you can't take that away from me. That's what I mean, decisiveness. You have to know, and you have to be decisive to know this is what I am called to do. Once again, we all have something very unique.
Yes.
That if I don't do it, if you don't do it, if
somebody will.
EMJ, she don't do it, it won't get done. It's only for you to do. Yes, once again, there's a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of event planning companies out there, but they are not doing it like me.
No, absolutely not.
You know.
So who are some of the, like I would say, I know your grandmother, of course, inspires you a great deal, but who are some of the mentors that actual like life coach mentors or motivational speakers that actually, would you say, mentored you?
Wow. You know what? This particular woman, she is not recognized out there in the world. And only a handful of people may know her. But my motivational coach, that person that's the only, my number one fan, the only fan in my fan club. And her name is Valerie Jenkins.
Valerie Jenkins.
That's my mom.
Okay.
That's my mom. No matter what I post, no matter what I do, she is pushing me. She always push me. I am so thankful unto God that I have a strong woman, a stand-up woman that she pushes me even up to, I told her that I was coming on and I was being interviewed and I was going I hooked up with you and we had such a really good, chit chat, and I said, our spirits connected, and she was like, well, make sure that when you go up on there that you're speaking from the diaphragm, you're speaking from your heart, and like she was like right behind me the whole entire way. And she doesn't even have Instagram.
Oh, but she already knows. She knows who you are. Right? And so that's what I think too. Like, going back to what we said earlier, I think if we know who we are first, like, I read something recently that was just saying basically, start preparing your victory dance, and not even just preparing it, like literally, going through the actual, like my process, of course, me being, as you know, a singer and artist, I actually do it a lot. I go into my living room and I prepare for my award ceremony. Like I actually receive my Grammy and I talk to everyone in the audience, But it's like, and so whatever that is for you, you know what I'm saying? So like if it's the keys to the car, that because your car is not working in your car. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Walking yourself to your car. It's like physically we have to start doing this.
Exactly.
Because, it goes back to what you said with the mind. Like I think mindfulness is so important right now that it's the first thing that we have to focus on. If not, we're getting lost. And so someone else may look at me like I'm, crazy, but I just, this is what I do for myself. And if I hear something and no one's sitting there in the car with me and I feel like I'm talking myself out of it, I will then, of course, at that point, ask the devil to get out of my car, because I know God is not going to sit there and discourage me. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm starting to hear something like this is not going to work, you might as well turn around or what. I know who that is. And so I've even gotten to that point too, to start saying out loud, you know what, I will pull over my car.
Pull those things out. That's
and go around. Yeah.
That's
open the door. I'm gonna need you to get out the car. You know what I'm saying? So that's what works for me. Yeah.
Right.
That's what
well,
works for
something.
Me. So,
I mean, just in closing, sis, because I know that your schedule's tight, my schedule's tight. What I want to say to you is, this is our first time actually seeing each other face to face, right?
Yeah.
You see me on IG, followed you, you followed me. I am very humble that you even reached out and said, hey, listen, I got this platform, the brand, the face behind the brand. I would love to. I'm humbled for that. And I thank you for even choosing me.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that you follow that their platform is thebomb.com. But for you to say, is this one here? I'm humble, and it's also confirmation that I need to continue doing what I'm doing. Okay, regardless of who's looking, who's not looking. But I thank you so very much for choosing me, because I'm quite sure it could have been it could have been anybody. We're on two different time.
A million people, right? Billions of people on Instagram, right. But you know, character is everything, right? So I mean, I don't work with people just because of they're at the top of the food chain. I don't work with them because they have, you know, a million followers. Like, I look for people who like the character. If your energy and your vibe and it's moving me, then I feel that you can bring value to others. And so that's what the face behind the brand is about, because this is your brand, but this is who you are behind the brand, you know.
That's
and
right.
So
that's right.
That is what I want other people to start seeing. So we're only a week and a half into this. You're my fourth.
You're already successful. This is beautiful, Val. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And anytime that you want me to come back on, I would be more than happy.
Don't tell me that, Val, because you'll always have a spot. Because I'm just like, I'm gonna be
absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you so much. Say hello to your mommy for me, please.
I will.
And we'll be talking soon. I'll go ahead and forward this over to you. I'll save it, and God bless you.
Absolutely. And all the blessings to you and all your success.
Thank you.
Okay, my love. Take care. Okay, bye-bye.